Hi, welcome to week 5 of the Family Food and Fun programme. In your bag this week you should have some little pots of poster paint, some shaving foam, some cotton buds, blank postcards, chunky brushes, and a couple of sheets of very see-through, very slippery acetate. So the activities this week are monoprinting, where we take a one-off unique print, and also some foam marbling. Now, there's a couple of things you might need to get this week as well. Kitchen roll. Some food colouring, a couple of colours, you can pick them up at sort of pound shops and things. A little bit of stiff card. Some straws, a newspaper to cover tables or wherever you're working. So we'll start with monoprinting. Because obviously this is see-through, if we put it on the table, we don't want to keep painting over it until we end up painting where we don't want to. So what I've done is I've used our masking tape and I've created this shape. We're going to be printing onto the postcard, so we don't need it to be much bigger than that. Okay, so use that as your guide. Pop your tape on, and when we come to paint in that space, we don't want to paint on the same side where the tape is. Flip it over, and it's the smooth side that we're painting on. That line is just our guide. So to make it easier for you to see, I'm going to tape mine to a piece of cardboard. There we go. My paint is in pallets, but yours is in pots. So you're going to take your chunky paintbrush, and ever so gently, you're going to paint inside here. Now we need this to be super thin. It's quite experimental. So the first couple, you might realise it was a bit too thick, but that's part of the beauty of this process. So we're going to just very gently fill this full of colour. You don't have to stick to one colour either. So we've got some paint in our space. Now we're going to do a drawing in this, and you can use your cotton buds, or you've got your plastic modelling tools from the week where we used the clay. You could also use those because you're just basically dragging a picture through the paint. So with my cotton bud now, I'm going to do a drawing. So mine's just a simple flower. Just like that. And this is where the trick comes in. I'll just move that for a moment. So we take our card, and it's a one-shot deal. We need to place it onto our picture, but we mustn't move it around because then we'll smear the picture. So we place it ever so carefully, smooth it out, and then the same thing when we take it off, we mustn't judder it. You've got to just pull it off in one go. So wish me luck. So we've got our card down. And then in one go, we're going to pull it up. Now, you can see I've got a bit of a flower there, but my paint was probably too thick. So now I'm going to do it with a thinner coat of paint. And don't chuck away any of the pictures that you don't feel work, because you can use them as part of your collages. You can cut them up, you can draw on top of them and add details. So nothing goes to waste. So we've got some paint, and we're going to do another drawing. So this time I'm going for a fish. So I take my card, pop it on my picture, press down, and then we're going to pull it off. There we go. So you can see it picks up all your strokes and your marks, and it picks up as well all the brush strokes of the paint. So that's your first layer. Now, if you wanted to, you could do another print. Maybe I could have added some more bubbles or some seaweed, and then when that's dry, the drawn seaweed could have been printed on there. Or I could use my paints and pencils from the previous weeks and add some more detail. But it's a really inventive, really experimental way of making prints. And you can make lots of them. You've got about 15 postcards, but you can use any paper. It'll work, as long as it's not too shiny. And it's the same process. Paint, draw, stick it down, and then pull it up in one go. So our next activity is creating our very own unique marbled paper. And we do this with shaving foam. So it's foam and not gel. The gel doesn't work. So give it a shake. Now you can do this on a plate, paper plate, it's up to you. But you've got your acetate, so you could also use that. And once again, we're going to use the postcards to take the print, so we don't need a huge surface area. We only need enough foam to cover a card. So you've got your plastic, and then if you spray some foam on, just like that. Can you see that? And then you've got your modelling tool. So we're just going to smooth it out slightly, not too much. And with your kitchen roll at hand, you can give that a quick wipe. So it's not ink that we use, it's food colouring. So we've got our food colouring. Now we don't want to just pour it on because that'll make a big splash. A good tip is get a straw, put your straw in, put your finger over the top, and then that'll hold just enough food colouring that you could then dribble on. So do that with a couple of colours. So the straw goes in. Make sure your finger's tight at the top, and then you're going to dribble it on. I've also got plastic pipettes, if you've got them. So we've got some colour, and now we need to make our design. So you could use the end of your paintbrush, you've got your plastic modelling tools, you could use a plastic fork, and we're just going to drag the food colouring through the foam. So you don't want to overwork it, you're just sort of making that marbly effect. So I've sort of just dragged it through. And then you're going to take a postcard and pop it on top. So you're going to pop that there. And just push it, not squish it down too much, but you're just going to let it sit on, and you're going to leave it for a moment because you need time for the food colouring to be absorbed by the paper, and you'll start to see it come through the paper. So we're just going to leave that for a moment more, and this gives you time to get ready for the quite messy bit. So I've got my newspaper ready. Now we're going to lift it up. Now you might think, ee, that looks a bit messy. Get your stiff piece of cardboard. And then we're going to drag that foam off the paper. So we're literally just going to take it off. And then once you get to the stage where you've got most of it off, use your cloth and just give that a little wipe. So that's the one we've just made. It also smells really nice as well. Now you could do it again with different colours and use that same piece to layer it up. Or you might think, it's got too much green in it, or I'd like it to be busier. So you'll know for next time how much to add. And the beauty of it is, the foam that we used, we can use several times. So I could go back in now and add more colours, more swirls, and you could do quite a few prints before it start to get a bit murky, the colours. So you can do lots and lots. And then once you've got a collection of them, you've got this lovely paper that's very unique that you could then use as part of your models or your collages or your pictures. And it also makes really lovely cards as well. So get foam printing.